The #2 ranked women's rifle team is preparing to defend its national title when the Frogs take on the Air Force Academy Saturday in the NCAA qualifier.
Tori has the story.
The rifle team enters Saturday's qualifier in a familiar situation. The Frogs know what it feels like to be the defending national champions, having won the national title in 2010. Senior Caitlin Morrissey compared the tournament to basketball's March Madness because of its uncertainty, but the Frogs are ready.
It's not anything new to us. We just have to go in and shoot our match and see where we end up falling, and that hopefully will be on the top.
The rifle team's 2 national titles in 3 years is an accomplishment no other athletic team on campus has matched since the football teams of the 1930s. The team is also riding a 22-match winning streak, a streak they will look to continue through the qualifier and the NCAA championships.
So we've been at the top, we expect to be at the top, and that's step 1 towards reaching that goal.
The program's recent success has helped gain recognition in a community that traditionally focuses on football and baseball.
I wear a shirt to Walmart and people are, oh, you're on the rifle team, I heard that they whatever. And so that's kind of cool. The awareness is definitely gaining. However, we just like to call ourselves the best secret on campus. So we just do our thing and just kind of take the recognition as it comes.
For Morrissey and fellow seniors Sarah Shearer and Sarah Beard, the qualifier is the final home match of their collegiate career. They have only lost 2 matches in college, including a 3rd-place finish in the NCAA tournament as sophomores. On Saturday, they will start a journey to finish their collegiate careers where they started, as national champions.
They're wanting to leave on the top, at the top. That's what they're expecting, and that's what they're striving for, and I'd like to see them reach that goal.
Freshman Megan Lee and junior Catherine Green will join Morrissey, Shearer, and Beard as the 5 women to represent TCU in the quest for a 3rd national title in 4 years.
TCU and Air Force will compete all day Saturday at the TCU Rifle Range. Scores from the regular season and the qualifier will be used to determine which individuals advance to the NCAA championships. The tournament is March 8 and 9 in Columbus, Ohio. So, it looks like a good tournament for these women and a lot of excitement for them.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be their 3rd national championship in 4 years?
Yep. So for the seniors, it's a chance to have 1 year, their sophomore year, where they didn't win the national title. It's pretty impressive.
Absolutely, no question.
TCU's Lupton Stadium is undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation. See what upgrades are in store and what Frog fan favorites will be changed.
And TCU competes in its only home Big 12 swimming and diving competition. See how the Frogs ended up against UT. From the Schieffer School of Journalism, this is TCU Sports Now. Hello and thanks for joining us on the inaugural broadcast of TCU Sports Now. I'm Clint Foster.
And I'm Alex Apple. The TCU swimming and diving teams had only 1 home conference match in Big 12 play this season. The Frogs hosted the Texas Longhorns at the TCU Natatorium. For several TCU swimmers, the match also served as senior night. Landon Hoff has the story.
The TCU Natatorium was packed for a rare opportunity Friday evening to see the Horned Frog swimming and diving team compete in a home meet. The Frogs entered the pool to take on the University of Texas, which came to Fort Worth ranked 7th in the country. The Longhorns came out on top on both the men and women's side. Despite the losing effort, an energetic crowd backed the Frogs.
That's our first home meet this year, which it just turned out that way this year. And so, whenever you got the stands full, it's exciting to swim. So I was really pleased with the turnout tonight.
For the men's team, the matchup with the Longhorns would be the only home meet of the season.
We had a great crowd here today, and that really helps us emotionally, just keeps us going the whole time. And no matter if we're having some down races, the crowd just helps us all the time.
Devin Price and the other seniors on the men's squad competed in the final home meet of their career on Friday.
Hasn't really hit me yet, but just trying to take it all in, and to finish against Texas is a great team to do it against.
It's tough to lose these seniors. They've helped our program get better every year, and I'm real proud of all of those seniors.
The seniors will stick around for another month before the Big 12 Conference Championships on February 27th. For TCU Sports Now, I'm Landon Hawk.
Following the Big 12 championships, TCU will compete in the NCAA championships in Indianapolis.
The TCU men's basketball team was soundly beaten by Baylor on Saturday, 82-56, in what Coach Trent Johnson called a good old-fashioned butt whooping. The Bears shot 11 of 19 from three-point range and had 3 players score in double digits. Forward Adric McKinney led the Frogs with 15 points and 8 rebounds. The loss was TCU's widest margin of defeat this season and dropped the Frogs to 0-7 in conference play for the first time since 1978. Next up, TCU travels to Austin for a showdown with the Texas Longhorns on February 2nd. TCU women's basketball came up short Sunday to Texas Tech, falling 53-42 to the Red Raiders. Despite the loss, center Latricia Lovings had a breakout performance for the Horned Frogs, recording a career-high 9 blocks. It was the 4th most blocks in a single game in program history. Lovings is the Big 12 leader in blocks with 68 on the season, and she ranks 3rd in the NCAA with 3.8 blocks per game. TCU remains winless in conference play, and they'll look to turn that around tonight against Oklahoma. When the Horned Frogs take the diamond next month in baseball, fans will notice several changes to TCU's Lupton Stadium.
J.D. Moore joins us in the studio to tell us what's in store.
Thanks, Alex. There's a lot of changes coming up in Lupton Stadium, just in time for TCU's debut in the Big 12. In Fort Worth, TCU might as well stand for Texas Construction University. As baseball players are getting ready for the Big 12, so is their stadium. New construction includes wind guards, new fences, new padding, and a new site near right field. The hill on the first base side of Lupton Stadium will no longer feature children sliding down on cardboard boxes. Instead, it'll feature new landscaping, irrigation, and bleachers. The overall renovation of Lupton Stadium is still in the early stages. The projects underway are just the beginning to a new master plan.
$8.5 million total master plan. We're barely touching the front end of it right now with some donated funds. It's all being done with donor funds.
The construction will increase the safety and comfort of fans, players, and maintenance crews.
Plan right now is to move the walls, terrace the berm, put in the warning tracks, build new batting cages, new bullpens, a turfed area. We'll see how funding and need take us through the rest of that master plan.
Future phases of construction will include upgraded locker rooms and training facilities for student athletes, with a little something for regular students as well.
A student section in left field with a patio and tables and whatever.
The construction of those projects will commence later in the year, but TCU Athletics wants fans to know where construction will be by the first home game.
We'll be ready to go February 22nd.
TCU will take on Cal State Fullerton that weekend for the first series in the updated stadium. At this point, Lupton Stadium has padding on the walls and the pipes for irrigation have been laid down. Now, football renovations to the football stadium is still ongoing, while TCU replaces the drainage system and places in new grass. Last year's spring game was canceled due to the construction on the grandstands. Athletic Director Chris Del Conte said that this year's spring game is still yet to be determined.
You know, JD, it should be an exciting baseball season. TCU has a lot of talent. Looks like they're ready to make a run for the Big 12 title.
Absolutely, and I think one other big thing that we're going to see with this team is a lot of offense. One of the big things about moving the fences is they're moving in at about an average of about 10 feet. Most of that is in center field, so we might see a lot more offense from Kevin Crone, a lot more home runs from both teams. So it's going to be a very interesting time to see what kind of offense is going to be produced by the Horned Frogs this year.
Well, thanks, JD. Speaking of baseball, baseball practice is now underway for the TCU baseball team with just under 3 weeks before the first series. The 12th-ranked Horned Frogs begin preparation for the 2013 campaign. The Frogs returned 17 letter winners from last year's squad that advanced to the NCAA Super Regionals. Jim Schlossnagle's squad joins the Oklahoma Sooners as the only 2 Big 12 teams ranked in the preseason top 25. The season begins on February 15th against Ole Miss in Oxford.
The women's tennis team defeated Sam Houston State Sunday, beating the Bearcats 4-3. Millie Nichols clinched the win for TCU, defeating Maddie Mortimer in singles. The 37th-ranked Horned Frogs moved to 2-0 on the year. They play Old Dominion Friday afternoon at the Bayard H. Friedman Tennis Center. First serve is set for 2 p.m. The TCU men's tennis team swept both UT Arlington and UT San Antonio this past weekend. The Frogs won both matches by a score of 7-0. pushing the men's record to 3-0 on the season. The 67th ranked Horned Frogs are 20-4 in individual matches on the year. 2 home matches are next. They'll play Texas A&M Corpus Christi Wednesday and Texas A&M Saturday afternoon at 1.
TCU Rugby defeated Texas State on Saturday, getting 4 scores en route to a 31-20 win over the Bobcats. Joe Kaiser scored twice for the Horned Frogs, with Jordan Saleh and Ryan Higgins adding 1 score apiece. The Frogs also scored on a penalty and successfully hit 3 of 5 conversion kicks. TCU's next match will take place on February 16th when they travel to St. Edward's University in Austin.
That's all the sports news we have for today. Thank you for joining us. For TCU Sports Now, I'm Alex Apple.
And I'm Clint Foster. Have a great rest of your day.
The NFL Scouting Combine begins this weekend. Landon Hoff caught up with Josh Boyce as he prepares for the NFL Draft. The rifle team is headed back to the NCAA tournament. We'll preview the squad as they try to win back-to-back national titles. And the baseball team was swept in their opening series with Ole Miss. We'll break down the series and the Frogs' chances in their home opener against Cal State Fullerton. From the Schieffer School of Journalism, this is TCU Sports Now.
Hello and welcome to TCU Sports Now. I'm Tori Cummings.
And I'm Alex Apple. We got a good show coming up for you today. Landon Hoff will join us with an exclusive interview with former TCU wide receiver Josh Boyce as he prepares for the NFL Combine. And Andre Dean joins us from Amon G. Carter with the latest on a new addition outside the stadium.
The NFL Scouting Combine starts this weekend. Former Frogs Matthew Tucker, Stanley Maponga, and Josh Boyce have been hard at work for their chance to impress NFL scouts in the days leading up to the NFL Draft.
Running back Matthew Tucker runs a 4.35 40 and is graded as a 56 by NFL.com. For defensive end Stanley Maponga, scouts like his power and hand usage, but need to see more consistency.
Wide receiver Josh Boyce is the highest ranked of the 3, earning a 72.2 from NFL.com. Scouts love his quickness, strength, and playmaking ability. He is being compared to New Orleans Saints receiver Devery Henderson. Landon Hoff caught up with Boyce, who's training in California.
That's right. I was able to get Josh on the phone and chat about his approach to the NFL Combine. Boyce will keep his eye on Sunday, the day on which wide receivers work out.
How's the training going over there in California?
Oh, it's going real good. I got a lot faster and bigger, so it was a good idea for me to come out here and get away from, a couple of distractions. So, it was good out here.
What's it like being on your own schedule after 3 years of being on a team practice schedule at TCU?
It's weird, but you got to get used to it. It's weird not, having to do study hard, homework or anything. It's just, straight football. So I had to get used to it a little bit, but I'm good now.
So much of training that you're doing is physical, like you said, getting bigger and stronger, getting ready to perform on the field. What's your mental approach going through something like preparing for the Combine?
We had, the Wonderlic test. We practiced that a couple of times, and just getting you ready for the interviews that you're going to be going through at the Combine. That's outside of the actual running and catching and stuff.
And what about emotionally? What's going through your mind as you in these final days before you prepare to showcase your talent for NFL scouts?
Just I'm anxious. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. A little nervous at the same time, but I'm just ready to show people what I can do.
Have you talked to other TCU players, some former Frogs that have gone through the same process and gone to the NFL Combine? Have you been able to get in touch with any of them?
I talked to Andy Dalton and Jeremy Curley and Marshall Newhouse. Mm-hmm. He's just telling me work hard and everything should work out for itself.
And is there any part of your game that you're hoping to specifically show scouts? Is there something you have in your mind that you really want to accomplish at the Combine?
Probably more just to show guys that I can run. I could, people know I can run a little bit, but they don't quite know how fast I am, like running a 40 or, and coming in and out of routes. So I just want to display that.
Boyce chose to forego his senior season at TCU for his shot at the NFL. He said receiving his degree in December was a major factor in making the decision.
There's a new site at Amon Carter Stadium that will be the source of a new tradition during football season. Andre Dean joins us from the stadium to talk about a brand new Horned Frog statue and what it means. Andre?
Thanks, Tori. The new statue is created by renowned sculptor Paul Tadlock from New Braunfels, Texas. The money was donated by 3 donors, and as you can see, the new statue right now is covered up by a gigantic teepee. But it won't be like that during the season. It's going to be right over here on the east side of the stadium, and the players is going to give it a little bit of rub on the way into the locker room before games, hopefully for a little bit of good luck. Back to you, Tori.
Thanks, Andre.
You know, it'll be interesting to see if they maintain the frog walk, because I know last year was the first year for the frog walk, and Gary Patterson, who's a superstitious guy, wasn't sure he wanted to continue it because they hadn't played well at home. We'll see if that new statue makes that a mainstay. It could be.
I'm excited to see what it looks like and just, how it all works out.
Absolutely. The rifle team is headed back to the NCAA championships with the 3rd highest qualifying score in the 8-team field. The Frogs narrowly defeated Air Force Saturday to qualify.
Sarah Shearer finished 1st in air rifle and 2nd in small bore. Sarah Beard won the small bore event. Caitlin Morrissey, Katherine Green, and Megan Lee complete the 5-woman team for the defending national champs. The NCAA tournament is in Columbus, Ohio, March 8 and 9.
The TCU basketball team's bid for their 2nd win in Big 12 play fell short last night against the Texas Longhorns. Let's start with second half action after Texas used a 6-1 run at the end of the first half to carry an 8-point lead into the locker room. Sophomore point guard Kean Anderson finds Adric McKinney in the post, who scores to cut the once 12-point Texas lead to 5. A few minutes later, Nate Butler-Lynn knocked down 2 free throws to tie the game at 42. It was the first time the Frogs had drawn even with the Horns. However, down the stretch, the strength of Texas freshman Connor Lambert and sophomore Mike Kabongo was too much for the Frogs. Lambert hits the hook in the middle of the lane, and then Mike Kabongo puts on a great spin move to put the game out of reach. Texas grabs a 68-59 victory, while the Frogs fall to 10-16 on the season. And while the present may look bleak, the future is bright for the TCU basketball program. Kavar Shepard attends Prime Prep Academy and has helped his high school team fly up the national rankings. Prime is ranked in the top 3 of nearly all national polls and took down 7th-ranked Sunrise Christian by a score of 73-45 last Friday. The TCU signee scored 6 in a row in the second half for Prime to put the game out of reach. Shepard finished with 14 points and showed why he has Frog fans excited.
In women's basketball, the Frogs are still searching for their first Big 12 win after losing to #1 Baylor 78-45 in Waco on Saturday. Brittany Griner was dominant for the Bears, scoring a game-high 22 points along with 10 rebounds. As for Latricia Lovings, the Frogs center led the TCU offense with 9 points. She had 1 block and is still trailing Griner for total blocks in the conference this season by 12. Griner has played 2 more games than Lovings. The women's equestrian team cruised to a 14-6 win over Fresno State Friday. Sophomore Samantha Bayer earned her first MVP honors of the season in horsemanship, while sophomore Demi Steigler and freshman Taylor Alexander won MVP honors in the equitation events. With the win, the Frogs improved to 5-3 on the season. TCU will face Oklahoma State Saturday, 10 a.m. at Turning Point Ranch. TCU's club lacrosse team is off to one of the best starts in the organization's history.
JD Moore joins us in studio to tell us more.
Thanks, Alex. The Horned Frogs have only 2 seniors on their roster for this season, but thanks to a little bit of creative recruiting, club lacrosse is dominating their opponents on the field. With 4 straight wins, TCU Club Lacrosse is off to one of its best ever starts. In fact, former player and current defensive coach Matt Padick had exceptionally high praise for his squad.
This is by far the best talent that we've had on this team since I've been involved.
But why is this team so talented? Is it the conditioning? The coaching? The play design? Padick says that he credits his players.
When I was playing, we were lucky to have a full roster of 11, 12 kids. This year we've got 33 on the roster.
33 players, most of which were nationally recruited.
California, Detroit, East Coast, West Coast, here in Texas, and the talent level is above and beyond what we used to have here at TCU Lacrosse.
Slide. Woo! How is it then that a club team, which doesn't offer scholarships, bring in these top players? By offering something other schools can't.
A lot of the D1, D2, and D3 programs have workout regimens start at 6 a.m., 5 days of practice, and we offer something different here at TCU where you can come, have fun at school, come out here a couple days a week during the spring and fall, and enjoy lacrosse as a competitive sport.
The recruiting strategy has been paying off.
There's always a T99, it's like the top 99 players, and we go out and look at them, and if they're not getting D1 offers, we'll step in and give them MCLA offers. We don't do scholarships, of course, but we just had real good time with all of our coaches and other captains contacting players all season or all summer, and we're fortunate to get a great group of guys this year.
TCU looks to continue its win streak this weekend as they take on Oklahoma and Texas State. The Frogs play both teams at home, the first home matches for the team. Coach Padick says that he expects victories for the Frogs this weekend. Oklahoma has yet to play a game this season, and although he said Texas State will be the most talented team that the Frogs face in the regular season, he expected his players to come out on top. Tori and Alex, back to you.
The men's golf team enters the third round of the Prestige Tournament in 8th place. The Frogs are 13 strokes over par with a 2-round score of 582. The University of Washington leads the team score with a 565. Sophomore Julian Brune leads the Frogs individually with rounds of 69 and 70. He is 1 over par and in a tie for 13th.
The TCU women's tennis team is on a roll. The Frogs went 2-0 this past weekend with wins over Pepperdine and 17th-ranked Vanderbilt. Senior Olivia Smith was unstoppable on her way to a 4-0 weekend with a big come-from-behind win to seal the match for the Frogs against Vanderbilt. Her performance earned her the honor of TCU's Female Athlete of the Week. The TCU baseball team suffered only the third sweep of the Jim Schlossnagle era last weekend at the hands of the Ole Miss Rebels. It was only the second time the Frogs have been swept since 2004. Despite strong pitching, the TCU offense could not find its stride. DH Jarek Suter was uncharacteristically 0 for 10, and leadoff hitter Cody Jones was just 2 for 11 in his first series in a TCU uniform. However, Preston Morrison threw well for the Frogs on Saturday. The sophomore recorded a career-high 9 strikeouts, which earned him the honor of TCU's Male Athlete of the Week. And joining us again in studio is Landon Hoff to talk about the Frogs' upcoming series this weekend. Landon, the first thing that you've got to say is the TCU offense has got to be much better this weekend against a potent Cal State Fullerton team. The team batted just 194 against Ole Miss last weekend and struck out over 25% of the time in their at-bats. That can't happen this weekend.
Well, you always want good offense, but if for no other reason, like you said, they'll need to keep up with Cal State's bats. Cal State Fullerton, has 30 runs in their first 4 games played, including games of 8, 9, and 10 runs scored. The Frogs managed only 4 runs in their series against Ole Miss. They're going to have to step up the offensive production if they're going to take down a team like the Titans.
Mm-hmm. They definitely will. And with the offense not being very strong, there was one bright spot. It was pitcher Preston Morrison on Saturday, who had a career-high 9 strikeouts, played 7 innings, had 25 batters, and didn't allow any walks, just the 2 runs. But he needs help from the offense. If he's going to have such a good outing, they need to back up what he's doing.
And a big question heading into this weekend is who is going to be the third starter on Sunday behind Preston Morrison, who will go on Saturday. Stephon Crichton will not start this weekend for the Frogs. That means that there's a hole right there. And Landon, you were going to tell us about one guy that you think could fill that role for the Frogs.
I'll tell you what, I think that guy could be Alex Young. He's just a freshman. He's a 6'3" left-handed pitcher. He's got wicked stuff. Reminds a lot of people of Matt Perk. One question with Young is the mental side of pitching. Can he bring it pitch after pitch and string together those innings that you want from a starting pitcher? But I wouldn't be surprised if we did see it because we've seen it before from head coach Jim Schlossnagle. Last year we had Finnegan and Morrison get significant times as freshmen. And the year before that we had Andrew Mitchell. And we know the prospect he's developed into becoming. And Matt Perk the year before that. So freshmen have come in and gotten big roles in the pitching staff. So I wouldn't be surprised if Young filled that role this season.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, the Frogs will have a chance to take on Cal State and see what they can do against them. 6:30 p.m. on Friday, and then at 2 p.m. on Saturday and 1 p.m. on Sunday to wrap up the 3-game series.
Landon, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
That's all we have for you this week on TCU Sports Now. If you're headed out to Lupton Stadium, get there early. There should be a good tailgating atmosphere, especially on Friday. And for everyone at Sports Now, I'm Alex Apple.
I'm Tori Cummings. Have a fabulous day.